have grown your personal brand. Everything is so perfect, but I know there's a lot of mess behind the scenes when we are working independently, and but everything
Yes.
is sorted at the forefront. So I have just requested story, and we also got a lot of recommendations of your name, by the way. So it's not just the team reaching out to you, but we were also in a lot of Facebook communities and LinkedIn groups wherein we have got your name as a recommended name, where people want to know
Oh,
your
that's
story, which
great.
is amazing. So yeah, there
Okay,
was a
this was
talk
new
that,
for me.
oh yeah, so all the people who are being interviewed were recommended in by somebody or the other, and then we have selected them and analyzed their profile. But when your profile came to me, I was like, oh no, don't need, we don't need to analyze, and I'm so excited for this. um
Uh,
and it's an honor meeting a fellow creator who has done so well during the pandemic in terms of personal branding, talking about mental health, normalizing a lot of things that I don't feel people have normalized yet, and pushing out content consistently. So thank you so much for joining us. Story and I are
it's an
honored
honor.
to host you. And yeah, are you ready for this?
Yeah, definitely. I was waiting since yesterday.
Great. And so
Yeah.
I would love if you can give like a 30-second introduction so that our audience knows more about you.
Okay. So I'll spare my name because I think most people know it. So yes, I started my career as a server admin. Most people don't know, although I talk a lot about career change. So career change is one thing that I have normalized a lot because most people in India, what they think once they start their jobs, so they are like imprisoned in their jobs for their entire life. Ki ab yahi karna hai, we are just going to do this. So I was a server admin. I started with HCL Tech. I worked there for 2 years, even though everything was going fine for me. But somehow there was a void inside me that I am born to do something else and maybe a lot better. Not that I am cursing IT or something like that. No. So I decided what should be an alternate career, and there wasn't a trend of career counselors or something like that time. It was in 2015. So I just decided, okay, let me see the subjects I was good at. So while growing, English was one subject that I was consistently good at. So I just looked for a career that is related to English, and I came across writing that time. So I started looking for more careers, and that's how I became a writer. I joined a digital marketing agency and then went on to work with many SaaS firms as a content marketing manager.
Mm-hmm.
And after 7 years of experience in the content marketing industry, I finally became a freelancer in November last year. So that's my story.
Wow. Wow. Okay. I did not know a couple of parts from this story. So glad I asked for that
Yes.
introduction. So now,
Yeah.
Harsh, my first question has to be this. What makes you Harsh? Like what sets you apart from all the people I've seen coming and going from LinkedIn at least? So what's that Harsh element?
See, my only element is so if I talk about my WhatsApp status, I always talk about this. My WhatsApp status never back down, and I think it's the same status for the last 7 or 8 years. I haven't changed my WhatsApp status even once. So that is one spirit I have showcased on LinkedIn as well. Whether my reach is good, whether my reach is bad, no matter I'm getting clients or not. But I believe in the power of focus. So I just keep on showing up every day, and if not every day, then probably a day after. But I don't give up. So I think that is one thing because my English name, most people when read it's harsh. So whenever south for me, I just say, Harsh, don't get harsh on yourself. And I get back up again.
Okay. And
Yeah.
okay, so you started on LinkedIn when? And how do you think about your content ideas? Given that you're so consistent, how are you still getting those ideas? Because sometimes we feel overwhelmed, exhausted, can't think of new things, don't want to give that one
Yes.
line of BS without storytelling and stuff like that. So how do you brainstorm your ideas?
Okay. So I started last year. Before that, I was working with the healthcare technology firm. So I was just out of that job in the month of March before the lockdown happened. 5 or 6 of my office were rescinded that time, and I was kept hanging in between. I was thinking what I'm going to do if I don't land a job. So I was interviewing at a place, and in the last round, the person asked me that Harsh, can I see your LinkedIn profile? So I just logged in the profile for him, and he said that you are working for the past 5.5 years, but you don't have a single post on LinkedIn and you haven't even started networking. Why? And
Wow.
I didn't have any reason. I never felt like it. So he said, ki, oh, so he just gave me this vibe ki, just because you don't believe in the power of networking, we are not going to select you. So I got rejected in the last round. So that became a turning point. And right after that, I started working on LinkedIn. So in
Wow.
April 2020 came my first post, and one post after the other. So I'm sure at least for 7 or 8 days or 15 days, 16 days, I just kept on writing and writing and writing. I never sent connections. I never accepted connections. I just kept on writing. So something inside was killing me that time. That how can I miss opportunities just for not having a LinkedIn profile? Yes. So slowly my profile started getting traction. So
Mhm.
it's been you can say 1.5 year journey so far. I started in April last year.
Wow. Did you ever connect with that person, by the way, to thank them or tell them that this happened?
No, I have wrote this story a lot, but I haven't. I think I searched for that person on LinkedIn, but he was inactive. So I thought maybe one day I can pay him a physical visit and then probably thank you, because you see we live in a virtual world, so most of our emotions they are not perceived the way we want to, right? So that is why I want to just do a physical visit after things get a little normal. And about the burnout thing and how I come up with ideas. So I talk about this a lot. See, as we start growing up, when we are little kids, everyone gives us their attention. So everyone is around us to support us. But as we start growing, that support starts to withdraw, right? we
Yeah.
started we start to think that we are no longer special, and we start thinking that maybe life is not what it was before, and we start cursing our life. We think our life is boring and there is nothing special about it, and we are just born to live life the mundane way until we die, right? So every day when I wake up, so my first affirmation is my life is not boring. See, we all can write, okay? Everyone can write. So I have written this a lot of times that if you have written exam papers in your entire life, we all have, right? In some form or the other. If you have written exam papers, you can write. If you don't want to become a writer, that's fine, but you can write good enough to express. But for that, you have to stop saying that your life mein kuch nahi hai, or our life is boring and we don't have anything worth to say. So as Gary Vaynerchuk says, let the market decide. So that video became the turning point in my life, where she was telling a college girl who was saying, I got rejected for this English program at a global university. So he said, you just do this essay on Instagram and let the market decide, not some middlemen. So I think we all should adopt that. So that way, what will happen? We will feel more joyous when we are creating content. It will never become a burden. And plus, we just have to document our life. We have to just speak from our experiences, whatever truths we have lived so far. So that is, so once we start doing that, we will never run out of ideas. Plus, whatever we are going to share, it will always create a distinct connect with the people who are reading it.
Got it. And so, got your idea about writing amazing posts. Now, what's one networking tip that you want to give to anybody who's watching this interview right now? Because networking is your net worth and everything, and we've heard it and preached it so many times. What's one thing that has really, really worked for you in terms of network?
Okay. Okay. So initially, the biggest mistake I committed on LinkedIn was I didn't engage enough. I was
Okay.
just doing a one-way street. I didn't used to reply to messages. I didn't used to reply to comments. So because sometimes what happens, you are in a different frame of mind, or people think, okay, someone is just a shy person or an introvert person, so they might face difficulties in networking. So I think if someone is facing difficulty in networking, if you cannot call people, then just start with a simple text. If you cannot even start with a simple text, there are always going to be people who are interested in your post and who comment on your post. So
Hmm.
always start with them. Okay. So that way, what will happen? You will slowly start coming out of a comfort zone. Okay, you just go for a random message. Hey, how are you? And just say thanks. A
Yeah.
thanks and a gratitude message can actually open new avenues to networking. You don't have to pitch your service. You don't have to look like a shady person or a creepy person while talking to someone. Just thank them for liking your post or maybe commenting on your post. And just like we are talking right now, just ask them in genuinely how things are. Okay, not
Okay.
just for the sake of saying that how are you. Probably you can drop a message that I am sure many people must be asking how are you, but I genuinely want to know that how are you doing, and I'm really grateful for your message. Rather than just establishing a virtual connect, I think we can actually establish a real connect in the virtual world if we can pour a little bit of empathy and emotions in all our messages. Because
Yeah.
what happens most of the time when we are dropping messages, hey, how are you, and here is my service.
Yeah.
So the hello doesn't mean anything. The how are you doesn't mean anything. And the person is bound to think that, okay, he's just here to sell something to me.
Yeah.
So
Very
if you
right.
want to create a genuine connection, I think just saying thanks for something and asking them genuinely how things are and actually listening to them for a
Yeah.
while, it can do a lot.
Yeah.
And everything is happening on text, so I think there is no point of feeling shy or even
Correct.
introversion that will not
Correct.
come into your way.
Got it. So that's your
Yep.
secret networking tip.
Yes.
Okay. And when it comes to personal branding on LinkedIn, what one non-negotiable that you have to do this if you're trying to create a personal brand? Like if this interview is reaching to somebody who is a founder, what is one tip that you will give to that founder? And primarily maybe SaaS founders.
Okay. So first of all, I will say to SaaS founders that please start creating content on LinkedIn, because most are not right now, because the organic reach is insane on this platform. Even if someone is not investing in LinkedIn ads, so I think starting to just post on LinkedIn, it will help a lot, because company page is not going to deliver the same results as your own brand will, because end of the day you are the founder. Just become the face of your brand.
Correct.
Let people know you, and automatically they will start knowing your brand as well. Okay, start with stories. I always tell this to even founders and to everyone who opts for my consultation calls. I say that if you don't have anything to say, you think, mostly freshers, they think I have nothing to say about, right? But
Hmm.
I'm sure when someone is a founder, they must have gone through a lot. They must have gone through a lot of collaborations, teamwork,
Correct.
and everything. So I think one non-negotiable for me, and I think it should be for all founders, always speak from your experience and never lie to get fake engagement. Even if a post has 50 likes or 60 likes, but it's reaching the right set of people, it will do its work with time. But
Hmm.
if you are just faking a story about your brand so that you can get attention, so what will happen? You will get that attention, but you won't be able to convert that attention. So just having the eyeballs is not going to hurt, not going to help, because in marketing, what people say, okay, the very first stage is brand awareness, right? We want more eyeballs on our product. We want people to know us, but at the same time, it's important that people know us and our product for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
Even if that process takes 6 months instead of 3,
Good.
that's still a better position. But do always be honest, always be transparent. Like, don't come up with a fake testimonial.
Yeah.
Don't forge a customer story.
So
If you don't
how?
have a customer story,
Mhm.
yeah, if you don't have a customer story, then just talk about your experiences while building that brand. That's it.
So how often do you think a SaaS founder can post? Is there like a post count that you suggest?
Okay. So initially, I would suggest if one can create a repository of posts. Posting every day is a good strategy, but I'm sure a SaaS founder won't get that much time to do such posts. So I think mixing and matching, it will help a lot. Sometimes they can do short posts. Sometimes they can come up with a long story, or
Yeah.
sometimes they can even do a Twitter screenshot, or sometimes they can just share something they like. Sometimes they can talk about something, talk something from their vision.
Yeah.
So if they are not researching, see, I just wrote this morning that we are not afraid of writing content. We're actually afraid of researching, which
Yeah.
we think that we are afraid of writing. So if we are writing something that's already locked inside our head, it's not going to be a problem. And
Yeah.
there are, so if someone is a SaaS founder, so what they have to do, they just have to sit with one of their teammates who
Okay.
is a little good at writing,
Mm.
just give him ideas, brainstorm ideas. It won't take more than 20-25 minutes. And the next is what they can do, they can just share their experiences in voice notes so that the writer can write.
This is nice.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So because voice notes, 1 minute voice notes are not going to take much of your time. So if we are talking about 30 posts, it will be done in within 30 or 35 minutes. So the writer will have enough substance. Now his only job is to arrange that piece of information, inject the right emotions, and serve it on a platter.
Yeah.
And after just rearranging information, it will be good to go. So and total time that it will take, I think it won't exceed 2 or 3 hours in a month. So that is my plan for fast founders.
Got it. That's really nice. The voice note approach is really nice.
Yeah.
So, got it. And okay, so I can edit this out if you want.
Yes, yes, yes.
Great.
No issues.
Okay. Okay. Now my next question is, okay, where do you see yourself 2, 5, 7 years down the line, given that you have this humongous experience and you're doing amazing things, and you are on the right track, at least for the outside world? Where do you see yourself 2, 5, 7 years down the line?
Okay. See, so my thought process has changed a little. When I started my career journey, initially I thought I'm going to do that tech job for the rest of my life, but that didn't happen. Then
Mhm.
I thought I will be working with the agency for a long, long time. That didn't happen. And then I went on to work with SaaS firms. Even that didn't stick. Okay, but I'm sure the freelance career, this newfound journey that I have right now, this is going to stick. So after 2 to 5 years, I think I'm going to come up with a few of my own products because I always wanted to be a blogger. So that was one dream that is, I think, on the pedestal right now. I will start that. So I will be a blogger for sure. And once that happens, I will keep on serving freelance clients. And then, as I told, I will also go for launching a podcast and then creating a video channel. So on two domains primarily, one for upcoming writers and one for people who are chasing their mental health. So it's going to be a blend of both. So whatever I do, it's going to be a blend of personal growth as well as content marketing advice.
Okay, got it. And
Yeah.
now, what is one tip that you have for creators, not just founders, but for creators? Like, what is one underrated feature of LinkedIn that probably nobody is exploring right now?
Okay. Like you're asking about any of the physical features or just any strategy that they should
Any
be.
strategy or feature that's very underrated? Anything on LinkedIn that is underrated right now?
Okay. See, for everyone wants initial traction when they are starting on LinkedIn. So what they do, they keep on chasing influencer profiles, right? So
Yeah.
that they can get traction. But the thing is, like you are chasing influencer profiles for traction, there are hundreds and thousands of people doing the same. So
Hmm.
you have a very lean chance of striking a conversation with them unless you have written something sensational or something really out of the box. So I think one underrated strategy is look for the post that has the least number of likes and the least number of comments, but which are actually good, which are getting beaten up because of the algorithm. Start commenting on those posts and actually strike conversation with those people because those conversations can actually turn into collaborations very soon.
Got
So
it.
if you are just getting started, you will actually have a good enough audience to actually engage on your posts and take you forward on this journey. And at the same time, you can also target influencers, no problem. But if we talk about the ratio, that it should be a 80-20 ratio, 80% for new people and 20% influencers.
Got it.
Engagement, I'm saying.
All right. Got it. That's a very sensible answer. Thank you for that. And
Yeah.
now we'll move on to the most exciting part, and that's the rapid fire. I'll give you two options. You just have to pick one. It'll be very quick. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Branding or content strategy?
Content strategy.
Content or consistency?
Consistency.
All
Oh God,
right.
this is tough.
Inbound or outbound?
Inbound.
Okay. Why so?
Because see, outbound is something like you are actually targeting people. You are going to them with a service. You are trying to generate interest. Okay, so that is going to be a tough nut to crack because the person isn't known, right? But if your content is actually in front of someone, and that hasn't happened with the push, then it's more likely to convert. So I think inbound has a better probability to convert than outbound, but yes, one should not always be reliant on inbound. It should be a mix. But again, if you talk about a ratio, we can go in a 70-30 manner. Inbound interest is always going to be better than an outbound strategy from what I have seen in my SaaS experience.
Got it. And what would you?
That's why SEO works. That is why SEO works,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's interest. People have that ready credibility that okay, this page is this link is on the first page of Google. That means it must be something useful.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And so what would you choose? But I know the answer, but it's just part and parcel of this. Twitter or LinkedIn?
LinkedIn any day.
Okay. And what is one Netflix series, book, or any blog that you would recommend anybody who's listening to this, seeing this, to read definitely or to consume definitely? Like, is there,
Netflix
because I
series.
see a very strong mindset that you have. What is helping you build that mindset? Is there anything that you preach in, in terms of content consumption?
Okay. So if we talk about content consumption, I think one must be consuming documentaries a lot. Documentaries and powerful speeches, speeches like I have a dream. Because what we are always talking about in content, we are always talking about storytelling and being conversational.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we just start reading books about that. But the thing is, until we see that happening in reality, it's not going to help. So what in documentaries, what is happening? There is already a story, there is already an argument, there is already an opinion. So we can learn from that. And when someone is actually delivering a speech, they're actually building a conversation. So we can actually pick up some phrases, their intonation, and all of that. So that can actually get included in our writing, and it can become a lot better. So if you ask about a series, I can offer two series. One is Two and a Half Men. It's not on Netflix, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, because I think if we are not able to laugh despite all these struggles in life, then probably we are just shortening our life. So that series has taught me a lot in my life. So Two and a Half Men is one series that I have watched, I think, over 10 times, all
Oh,
13 or 14 seasons.
okay.
Yes, yeah, that is one series. And there is one movie. It's called The Intern. Okay, so The Intern, everyone should watch that movie. So in that movie, an old man, he's a 70-year-old. He goes to a company and he's stuck between millennials and everyone, and how he juggles his journey
Okay.
and how life should be. So there is a lot to learn. So these two things I think I will definitely recommend.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
And okay, so my last question is, where do you see the future of content on LinkedIn? Like, how do you see it shaping? When we started a year and a half back, it was a lot of trends coming in, then a lot of people trying to hop on those trends. Then beach mein the meme marketing thing started.
Yes.
Now the memers have sidelined. Now the one-liners, motivational posts, and the polls are doing better. So this is all evolution of content on LinkedIn. But what do you think will come ahead? Is it more activity on stories, more LinkedIn lives? What do you see it? How do you see it?
Yes. See, the problem with trends is everyone is trying to hop onto them, right?
Yeah.
Whenever a trend comes, people just try to hop onto it and juice out the maximum traction they can. But the problem is people get bored, right? Whenever they just see just one trend being talked about, they get bored and they just keep scrolling. So I think trends are definitely not the future, from what I have seen from my own content experiences. But I think life experiences is something that is going to shine. Not just life experiences, even professional experiences. It's like someone who has just started and they want to reach a certain place. They will always try to follow a person who has followed a similar trajectory or a similar path. They want to shorten their journey. That is the reason why we read books, right? Because they're trying to distill 10 or 20 years of wisdom in just a few hours. So when people are writing mostly stories and even offering wisdom from their experiences, it can be general wisdom or it can be professional wisdom. I think that is going to shine in future, because they don't have a timeline like trends. Like trends come and go, but there is something called timeless wisdom, and that always stays. And that is always condensed in the form of either stories or information or certain experience that we have lived. So that is going to be the future on LinkedIn. Trends, I don't think they will always come and go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. So personal stories will always thrive because that's what people connect with.
Yes, because we don't have to do, what we do, we just cram most of the things in marketing, that we should be telling stories. So if we try to get to the root that why stories become so popular, it's just because when we were kids, our grandma used to tell us stories. So we built an innate inclination to it. So why do we watch Netflix series? So whatever we want to do, so we do it for certain reason. We watch Netflix because we are hooked by stories. So whatever we are doing every day, and if that element comes in some form or the other while marketing, that is always going to make an impact. That is why stories and experiences, because they also impact us in real life as well. So in real life also they will impact.
Okay. That's amazing. Harsh, this was actually better than I expected it to be. As a
I'm
creator,
glad.
somebody who has seen your journey, it's so good to know the real candid you is same on LinkedIn as well as when I'm having this one-on-one conversation with you. The personality is exactly the same how I had imagined. It's so good to meet my imagination today. So thank you so much for taking out time for this. I and Story are in debt. We would love to host you for many such podcasts, and there's so much that we can discuss about. Yeah, thank you for joining.
My pleasure, Unnati.